ahead and get started with our NTT IndyCar Series post-qualifying press conference, joined now by two drivers from our Firestone Fast 6 session. Scott Dixon, who qualified second in the number 9 PNC Bank Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing, and Colton Herta driving the number 88 Gas International Honda for Harvey Steinbrenner Racing. Colton, will start with you starting 4th in tomorrow's IndyCar Grand Prix. Certainly not pole position, but if you believe in numerology, you started 4th at the IndyCar Classic in Austin. Hoping for a repeat win tomorrow, perhaps?
Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, I think we just need that little bit more in the last bit of qualifying. It was just under a 10th for the top 4, so extremely close, and that tends to be the case here. But you know, tremendous job by Felix. I know it was a kind of battle between me and him to get who was going to be the first rookie to get on the pole, and he beat me to that. So congrats to him. He drove a great lap, and yeah, but we got a quick car. Hopefully the numbers do play out like Coda, and we can end up winning tomorrow.
Joined also by Scott Dixon. Scott, this time last year, there was a little bit of frustration heading out of qualifying with the starting result. I believe it was 18th. How much of a relief is it knowing that you're going into tomorrow's race from the front row?
Yeah, I don't know. It worked out pretty well last year. We ended up second, but yeah, last year was, I think, definitely more dependent on the red tire, and if you had, a second use it made a pretty big difference in the race. But yeah, all weekend, I think both of our cars have been really quick, which is fun. Felix, huge congrats to him. It was a great job there. Pieced the lap together. We tried to do 1 and 1. We did a bit of a cool off in between, stayed out. Definitely the 2 laps, I think, in segment-wise together would have been quite good. But obviously I didn't piece that together. But big congrats to him. Huge congrats to Chip and the team, and it's good to lock out the front row.
Joined also by Jack Harvey driving the number 60 Auto Nation Sirius XM Honda for Meyer Shank Racing. Jack, you've been showing a lot of speed in practice consistently in the top 10 in the combined results. Did you feel like you had a Firestone Fast 6 performance in the car?
I mean, yeah, I think we hoped that we would have that. The baseline cars have been very good. We tested well last week, so I think we came into the weekend, fairly optimistic. I think good results like this really are massive for our program. Still only doing the 10 races, so still it's fairly part-time. It's nice in moments like this where maybe we can apply a little bit of pressure to a few other people to say, why don't we do this full-time? So I don't know if we expect it to be 3rd today, but certainly we'll take it. And everybody I'm around, I know how good all the guys are. Felix, when we raced in Europe, saying 5-time champion, and seeing this guy race for what seems like a long time as well. So it's nice to be up here. Great result for our whole team.
Absolutely. We'll open up for questions. Yes, Bruce.
Scott, as the veteran of the group up there right now, you see all these new names that are in the Fast 6, including the pole winner. How important is this for the series to start seeing all these new names, battling all the great experienced drivers like yourself?
Yeah, I think it's very important. It's great to see the influx. I think we've seen it, in the last couple of years. But yeah, I think in building the series and making sure that it continues strong, it's definitely what you need, and it's definitely keeping a lot of the veterans pretty honest, and it's new names, new people from a lot of different places, but obviously they're all very quick, so it's great to see.
Yes, Wolfgang.
Scott, question for you. You're a little bit slower than Felix. How identical is your setup in case it would be identical?
I think pretty close. I think all weekend it's just been who kind of pieced the lap together a bit better. In that scenario, I think my start of my first lap was really good, and didn't do well in the second half, and then on the second lap I kind of messed up turn 2. So it's I think it's just one of those things. Both cars are very close, and we've been pretty close throughout the weekend. But I'd say they're almost identical, which is nice. It's nice to work with someone that has very similar feels and likeness to.
Any other questions? Yes.
Jack, you've won here on the oval and on the road course. What is it about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that suits your driving style?
I don't know, I wish I could do it more often than just this place. I don't know really, I guess, you know, I've gone well here from the first time I came here. I think the big breaks then feed into one corner of the train to another. I've always seemed to have gone well in corners that link with another, you know, almost immediately following. I think we had, you know, decent pace today through 7 and turn 10. So, I don't know, I think, you know, again, it was I know I've been good here, and you come with just a little bit of extra confidence. So, the thing we're working hard to try and figure out is why we can't replicate the performances that we're having here, you know, just looking back towards like a historical moment. More frequently, more often, that's the goal, because certainly this place seems to be fairly kind to me, and hopefully it's kind to me tomorrow and on race day on the 26th.
Colton, this certainly doesn't have the elevation changes of COTA, but it has the wide areas, long straights, very smooth track. Are those characteristics that you see COTA and this track have in common that can work to your benefit?
Yeah, I think big braking into very slow corners is something that they have in common. The change of direction too, I was good in the S's at COTA, and kind of similar thing of balancing the speed through one and not overdoing it in the other, so maybe that's similar.
Before we welcome Ed and Felix, any other questions for Jack, Scott, or Colton? Yes, Steve.
Scott, you mentioned the tires being a question mark yesterday going into this weekend. Did the cold make that even accentuate that?
Well, the primary is definitely a totally different tyre. You know, it's closer to the black, which I think last year, you know, I commented earlier on. I think the reds were pretty much just like gold. You know, if you had more of them and ones with less laps, they were definitely what you wanted. And I think that definitely helped our race last year coming from the back. There seems to be definitely a smaller gap, but it's still pretty large. You know, it's over probably right around a second. So. The hard part here too is that the red is very durable, so I think you're just going to see everybody trying to run the reds as long as possible and you know, minimise the time on blacks, which last year I think provided very good racing. You know, even between the leaders with Will and Robbie, you know, they were switching back and forth when they were off strategy. So I think you'll see that tomorrow as well.
Any other questions for Jack, Scott, or Colton? Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll keep Ed and Felix. Joined by Ed Jones, driver of the number 20 Ed Carpenter Racing Scuderia Corsa Chevrolet, starting 5th in tomorrow's IndyCar Grand Prix. Ed, again, showing some speed in practice, the team working really well together to get the best performance possible out of qualifying. What are some things that you noticed from your qualifying run that give you some hope and optimism heading into tomorrow's race?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's nice to start off the weekend on the front foot and have a good base setup. But even the practice sessions didn't run so smoothly. You know, we had quite a few issues there, and fortunately, qualifying was the first session that went smoothly. So we had a good result there. Again, all the Hondas tested here obviously last week, so we thought that was going to be a bit tough. And even in qualifying, it showed that the case was they had a bit of an edge. But it's nice to be top Chevy and the team looking good. So hopefully tomorrow we can have a good race and move forward again.
And of course, next to our pole sitter, Felix Rosenqvist, driving the number 10 NTT Data Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. His first career pole in his rookie debut here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. Felix, your team, Chip Ganassi Racing, swept the front row heading into tomorrow's race. Can you tell us about the strength of your team and your chances for a win tomorrow, knowing that you have such strong starting positions?
Yeah, it was, you know, it's been a really smooth day for both the 10 car and the 9 car. I think we've been, you know, top 5 basically every session. It's been very tight today, so, I mean, you still have to pull it off, and it's like, if you're 1/10 off, you can fall down like 6 spots very easily. So, yeah, it's been, I mean, it's tough mentally to go through a session like that, where, you know, the lap you do might be P1, but then the next time you come around, you're like P5. So yeah, it really puts the pressure that you need to deliver every lap. So, but I felt really good with the car. You know, I felt like I could drive calmly, probably for the first time this year without putting like 120% effort in, and that I think that was the key today. To, in such a long qualifying session where you need to be on it all the time, that was definitely the key. So yeah, big thanks to Chip Ganassi Racing and Entity Data and Honda for just perfect package, perfect day, and double front row for our team. Amazing.
And in perfect timing, we'll welcome in Will Power, driver for number 12 Horizon Chevrolet for Team Penske, starting 6th in tomorrow's IndyCar Grand Prix. Will, a 3-time race winner here at the IndyCar Grand Prix, all 3 of those wins coming from pole, but do you feel like you can still mix it up and get to the front in tomorrow's race?
Yeah, some were saying that the weather's going to be pretty mixed up, so it always makes for a mixed up race. Don't seem to have the ultimate pace of these the guys in front of us. So maybe we have to think about it overnight, but how these races can go, you never know. Just keep working hard and doing our absolute best so we can move a few spots up.
Absolutely. Questions? Yes, Wolfgang, behind you.
Question for you, Felix. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, yeah. I just have a question concerning your management partner, Stefan Wurz. Is he also involved in the team as your mental coach?
No, he's just a manager for me. Felix Rosenqvist, the driver. When it comes to contracts or decisions and things like that, not really like on a sporting side. He stays out of that. So.
Bruce.
Felix, with the way this track is so wide going into turn 1 where it funnels across, for you starting your first Grand Prix here, how important is that to be ahead of the potential mayhem? And then I have a follow-up to that.
Yeah, I think the best place to be is probably in the front. At least you don't have anyone in front of you to worry about. So that's a good benefit for tomorrow, definitely. I mean, I've seen some videos from this corner, and definitely there's some history there. So also having Scott next to me, I mean, whoever comes out first is probably not going to be any big contact or anything. So I feel as good as I could for that.
And with this being the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and you on pole and Marcus starting 9th, do you expect this to be a pretty big TV number in Sweden?